Hello out there.
I'm Monica.
And I'm Haldoon, and we're bringing you
Bomb at the Movies.
All right, today we'll be talking about Twilight Eclipse. It's the third segment of the Twilight series. Here at BOM, we're the Boston League campaign. We're a primary prevention campaign against teen dating violence. And there was a couple of things in this movie that we saw that really stuck out at us, that were lightweight, out of pocket, a bit unhealthy.
Not being the boss of yourself.
Not being the boss of yourself very well. So, the first thing was the love triangle. What was going on there, Monica?
The girl, Bella, she was misleading, Edward and Jacob. She was in a relationship with Edward, but she was, telling Jacob, she was in love with him. She was leading him on.
Yeah, she was leading him on.
But he was telling her, you are in love with me, you just don't want to admit it. And there was a point where, he actually told the boyfriend that, she's in love with me.
Yeah, and they were talking, and he took off. He's a werewolf, and he walks around without a shirt because he's all hot all the time. But something else that was happening there was several instances where they both, Edward and Jacob, kind of forced themselves onto her, right?
Grabbing her and kissing her,
against her will.
To.
Yeah.
And at one point, she actually hit Jacob, which messed up her hand because he's a werewolf.
And he has an
skull.
Amazing bone structure,
right.
For a werewolf. Some of the other things that I noticed in the film were that some of the parents tried to talk to Bella about hanging out with Edward too much, and it seemed like
excluding herself from her friends.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah, it seems like they were super exclusive, where they didn't really hang out with anybody else, and she kind of lost some of her friends. The idea that she had to marry him in order to have sex with him was another thing that came up in the film, where she was trying to have sex with the vampire, but he didn't want to have sex with her because he was from the 16th century or something,
right.
And he wanted to respect that. But the flip into that was she wanted to become a vampire, and he wouldn't make her a vampire because he liked
Apparently
that
he didn't want her to.
Even there's a lot of weird stuff.
But she was just trying to rush into it.
The fighting and the back and the forth, it really just seemed like
it was like a gang.
It was like a gang,
right?
Out
here in the Bay Area, you can't come on my set. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
It was just a whole bunch of trying to attack.
It was sides, yeah.
Right. It was the werewolves and it was the vampires.
Yeah. Now we're gonna give them the bomb review, right? And that's the Boss of Me review. So it's 1 to 5 bombs, right? Out of 1 being the lowest, 5 being the highest. How would you rate this movie in terms of healthy relationships?
I'd give it a 1, just because it just seemed like it was too accepting of all these different situations, and it's a whole bunch of teenagers watching the movie too, so it doesn't really make it seem right about gang rapes. And you might as well would have had guns and drugs in it, you know what I'm saying, and saying it's okay, that's the way I see it. So I'd give it a 1. What about you?
I would give it a 2. I felt that there was a lot of unhealthy aspects to relationships apparent in this movie, but the thing that caught me was it didn't boil over. And because you brought up the point about the gangs and stuff, it was really interesting to see the werewolves and the vampires team up to save the character of Bella, and they work together around this character. So it really kind of made it seem not so bad. But the personal relationship between Edward being creepy and kind of stalky, and then Jacob kind of forcing himself and just not going away, kind of just
pretty much making her say she's in love with him.
Yeah,
even though she really felt that way.
Yeah.
He kind of pressured her to just get it out when she could have just left it alone and been okay in her relationship.
Yeah, don't be prying in people's relationships. So, once again, I'm Haldoon, and
I'm Monica.
And this was our first installment of Bomb at the Movies. Why don't y'all check us out later, y'all. Peace.